What up guys, SuperMetal983 here to bring you another album review, and this time we've got an EP that we've got for you today from, everyone knows by now, my favourite band of all times, as you can read below. I'm going to be reviewing the new Ingested EP entitled Call of the Void. This is released under Unique Leader Records. Now, you've been subscribed to my channel long enough, you know that Ingested is my favourite band of all times, and every release that they have brought out has been unquestionably heavy as fuck, brutal, and just absolutely barbaric, and just perfect. I can't fault them in any way, personally. That's just my personal opinion. But last year saw the release of their their fourth full-length album entitled The Level Above Human, which, in my honest opinion, is probably their best work to date. It's not my favourite release of theirs, but it is still their best work to date. Just everything combinating in that release just oozed out quality, if you ask me, and just pushed Ingested into the limelight, and they are now taking over the world with this album. But it's been just over a year that album's been out, and now we have some new music from the guys entitled Call of the Void. It's a 6-track EP and runs around 20.5 minutes in length, and this is a different kettle of fish and maybe a bitter pill for someone to swallow, but this is not the Ingested that we know and love. This is a different beast that has been awakened. This is, I will say this now, that this is not a full-on brutal assault EP. This is something a bit more experimental in the Ingested sound, I would say, and that might come as a surprise to people, but if you listen to the EP, you'll know exactly what I'm on about. Excuse me. Now, we'll start the EP off with the first track, Mouth of the Abyss, which, in my opinion, is kind of following along the same sort of lines that we have heard on The Architect of Extinction and The Level Above Human, with that straight up brutal deathcore with some really tasty slams here and there. It's the stereotypical Ingested that we know and love, but it is really solid, and that was the first track that we got from this EP. Now, when I first heard that, I was really impressed and looking forward to seeing what else was on this EP. And then I got the promo from Unique Leader Records, and yeah, from after that song, things started to change up really, like, kind of like took us by surprise, because you flow into track 2 and track 3, which I'm going to link them together because they are pretty much linked, which is Eternal Kingdoms Part 1 and Part 2. Now, this is where things start to get very, very interesting for me, because this is not the Ingested that I recognise and know and love. Like, that's not in a bad sense, I might as well say, but this truly swept me off your feet, because this is a new different kind of Ingested. This is a more melodic, a more atmospheric, a more eased back sort of Ingested, you could say. Like, this is something very atmospheric that I really didn't expect from Ingested, and I feel like this is a bit more of an experimental release for that sort of measure, and I put that in my mind straight away when I heard this, so I was open-minded and listening to this these two tracks and being blown away well and truly by the melody and the atmosphere on these tracks. They are filled with so much power, and they've got a very unique flavour to them, like, because I think it's come from all the years that we've heard Ingested become one of the most brutal bands on the deathcore scene, shall we just say. But to hear this just was so fresh and so flavorful. I just fell in love straight away as soon as I heard that clean guitar. It kind of put us in mind of the likes of some of the more instrumental melodic tracks that we've heard, like Omega, I think it is, on the last track of the Surreption, which is it nearby? Is it? Yeah, the last track. Omega, yeah, I was right. That last track is one of my favourite tracks of Ingested, so it really put us back in mind of that. But then when the vocals come in, it just becomes another fucking beast, if you ask me. Like, it is so overwhelming and so wow. You're just like, could Ingested do something like this and get away with it? Yes, they fucking can. And that, I feel like with the beauty of the acoustics and the atmosphere and the chord structure and the songwriting just really opens a new world for Ingested, that they're not just this another brutal band in the deathcore world. They are something very special, and this EP and those 2 tracks definitely compensated very well, and it just swoops you off your feet. It blew me mind when I first heard it, if you ask me. And then you flow into the 4th song, which is Empyrean Creed. The Empyrean Creed, I believe how it's pronounced, which is a bit more of a... I would definitely say, listening to it, it puts us in mind of a bit more of a more blackened style of Ingested. Like, it kind of has that same sort of vibe that you heard on like the Architect of Extinction and the Level Above Human, but it takes on a bit more of a darker, more blackened sense to it, as if kind of like a bit. The only way I could kind of relate to it is a bit of like influence from the likes of Die Artist Murder and Behemoth, for example, really giving it that really different sensation in there. But I really enjoy that. I love the creepy elements that are in the songwriting there, but it really creates this real cynical atmosphere that is just something to behold, if you ask me. And then the 5th track is just a little interlude, about 20 seconds long, and I guess that's kind of like a breaking point to make you say, wait a minute, we're done, hope you enjoyed it. But then it comes in on the last track, which is a bonus track, which is called Erotic Depravity. Now, if you are familiar with Ingested's older material, I'm talking about they're also from Northwest Slamfest, I believe it's called, the split EP that they did with a bunch of bands. I believe it was Crepitation and Castrated. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that is a re-recording of one of those songs, and that, I feel like, is the perfect conclusion to say, right, let's stick away from the like melodic and blackened stuff. Here's a bit of fucking slam to absolutely kick your fucking teeth in. And quite frankly, it made us harken back to when I first heard Surpassing the Boundaries of Human Suffering and being absolutely mesmerised by it, the brutality. And this one, I definitely feel like it's just one of the heaviest things that Ingested has put out there in a long time. Like, that... Like, not in a sense like that Level Above Human, Architect of Extinction, and Disruption, Revered by No One, Feared by All. None of those were heavy in any way. I'm not saying that. But I feel like this just kicks you right in the teeth so hard because you really don't expect it. And I feel like that's what gives it that more of a punch when it comes in. I feel like it really embraces it, and just, especially that last breakdown, when it sets it up really, just sets you up for sheer utter violence, and just it comes in with a slam really fucking hard, and you just like impaled, and then it finishes and you're just like, what the fuck did I just listen to? Like, the whole experimentalness of this EP just is something to behold, if you ask me. Like, it's not something that you can see, like, listen to one song and go, I'm done with that EP. This is something you need to listen to beginning to end, because it offers so much. It's a different kind of ingestion. It gives you a take of all different eras and different sounds that I feel like people won't expect, and that's what I feel like offers this EP. Just wow, what an EP. And overall, the production definitely sounds follows in vein of the Level Above Human. Everything sounds really clear, very punchy, and very brutal, if you ask me. And I might as well also point out Jason's vocals on here is just unbelievable. He's still one of my biggest inspirations as a vocalist, and quite frankly, I hope one day that I get to share the stage with the guys in Ingested with my new band, which more on that in the upcoming future. But anyway, yeah, and the guitar work is absolutely fantastic on here, and especially those cleaner parts in Eternal Kingdoms. It just, wow, it just blows me, man. I can't even put into words how chilling it makes me feel, honestly. The bass is very warm as well, very smooth oriented bass on, but it's got a really nice rumble to it to give it that really kick in the teeth sort of vibe. And then Lynn Jeffs, he's definitely calmed down his drum work a lot more recently. He's not as he's still blisteringly fast and very relentless with his drums, but he's still very, very creative. And on this EP, I definitely feel like his creative sense has come affront here, and it sounds absolutely fantastic. So if you want something really unique to hear in 2019, and something that is very, honestly, going to surprise a lot of you, then this is definitely one that you need to check out. Call of the Void by Ingested is just incredible, and something you definitely need to check out. I definitely see Eternal Kingdoms Part 1 and Part 2 are highlights, and Erotic Depravity, but the other two tracks are fucking phenomenal, if you ask me, and I cannot wait. I'm hoping for another full length in 2020, sorry, but we'll see what happens in the upcoming future. But this is absolutely fantastic. Make sure you check it out. Link down below of where you can check it out, and all the other links that you need will be down there, so check them out. And for an overall score, I'm going to give this a solid 9.5 out of 10. Absolutely fantastic, and honestly, I'm hoping for some more of these experimental Ingested stuff in the upcoming future, because this is absolutely fantastic. But I'll see you until the next video, and remember, stay metal, and I'll see you later.